Welcome back. I'm joined right now by Craig Pilant, who is an associate professor of history at the County College of Morris. Craig is passionate about travel, and he's bringing that passion to his students at County College of Morris. Craig, welcome.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
When did you get bit by the travel bug?
Oh, 40 years ago. I took a spring semester, went over to Rome for Easter on my own, and then that following fall I ended up going there for studies. And periodically I've been traveling ever since then.
So you lived there for about half a year?
Half a year, yes.
How did that experience change your life?
It opened up my whole range of visions and ideas about first of all, what life could be. It didn't have to be constrained by the neighborhood I lived in and by the school I was at. And just to meet new people who were different than myself in many ways, culturally and ethnically, as well as speaking different languages, that really just open up all these different avenues of possibilities for me, especially for studying.
Well, it's interesting you say, especially for studying, and I realize that you're an associate professor of history. I wonder, is there a connection there between your experience traveling and your desire to study history?
Well, certainly, going over there, one of the things I really love, and I developed a love for it when I was over in Italy, was art. And so ever since then, I got more involved in art. I started to study art history, and I integrate that into my actual teaching as well. My students either love me or hate me because of that.
Now, I'm sure they appreciate it, but I'm sure they appreciate it even more once they have the opportunity to travel, and you allow them that opportunity. You, in fact, 5 expeditions now that you've led to Europe. Talk about what you're doing with your students and how you're leading them to places they've never been. Well,
first of all, I do extensive preparation of students before they leave. Sometimes people say, well, we're just going to get to the bus and go to the airport, and there we go. But I try to prepare people by saying to them, here's what we're going to be seeing, and these are some of the conditions you're going to see it under. And so I think it's important for them to get context for the art and for the different monuments and all. And also to prepare them culturally, because they are stepping into somebody else's home. And for them to understand that they are guests is very, very important.
Is there a behavior type that's appropriate, inappropriate when you travel, and how do you deal with that?
I think they all understand that because they're guests in somebody else's homeland and all that, they're a little more subdued. And because of that, I think that they have a sense of appropriateness that's kind of almost built into them and all that. I've never had any problems with students over there, which has been very, very fortunate, and knock on wood.
Well, you know, I'm sure you've seen some real life-changing experiences from your students as well. Tell us what you've experienced with them.
One thing is that they seem to grow up really much more. They have a sense now that they have not just an understanding of what's going on overseas and all, but a need to appropriate the information that they see in the news and all that, and kind of get an idea about how the world is changing, and it's not just out there, but it's also affecting them, they themselves and all that.
Where are you bringing them generally?
Normally I have 3 areas I bring them to. One is Italy, Greece. Second would be Spain, and third one would be the British Isles. And some of this is due to what they're interested in going to see, because obviously if I'm putting together a tour, I have to have numbers. And so this year we have 35 people going, which is the largest number I've ever had, and we're going from Venice to Rome as a result.
Is there also, I mean, I imagine that parents, these are still students, that parents have some involvement and some say in where their kids are going. Is the Europe decision in part because of the parents?
Yes. I think a lot of parents are uncomfortable with their children going overseas to Asia, for example, because it's so quote unquote, foreign to them and all that. And also I've wanted to bring students to China, but the cost of it is a concern, as well as just the environment. They're not sure about China yet. So Italy is a safe bet, especially the British Isles. And I think that parents are more at ease when they know not only can they send their students with people they can trust, but they can even have input and come to our meetings as well if they really would like to. And I have had some parents come with us too.
Is payment an issue for these students? I imagine that the costs are pretty high, and who's subsidizing it?
There is no subsidization outside of the student and the student's family. A lot of my students work full-time, and so they pay for this themselves. They have a long-term payment plan through the company that we use.
What is that company?
EF College Study Tours. They're out of Boston. They're actually an international company and been around for about 50 years. And also, too, we have a means by which parents and family can actually contribute to their funds through the company.
So they can make gifts on
Yes.
their child's behalf, or if it's not a relative, then they can make a gift so that this student can travel. And where does that money go? Is it a fund for them?
Well, for them, the money for the travel itself goes right to the company and all. We don't handle any of that money ourselves. The students earn the money, they put it in, and basically we can see the amount tick down to zero. Which is a very happy point for them, I'm sure.
I'm sure it is, and in fact, they're learning major life lessons there about saving and being responsible and valuing what's important to you, and travel is clearly one of those things.
Deferred gratification.
Yes.
That's a really important thing for our students and all students to learn, all children to learn.
What has it done for you seeing your students grow and develop as people?
It gives me a great deal of joy. It makes me very, very happy to see them. I have a number of students who go back, 1 year after. I have one student who came back with us 3 times after his initial trip. And he would be with us this trip, except he changed colleges and could not get off. But for me, it's a sense of real, like, I'm doing something that's worthwhile, and it gives me a lot of happiness because of that.
And just to clarify, it's not just students who can go on these trips?
That's correct. Their family members can go. Also, 2 friends of CCM, County College of Morris, can also come with us as well. And this year we have about 5 guests coming with us as a result of that.
Is it open to the general public? Can I come?
You can certainly come. I'd be happy to see you come with us. But certainly, anybody who contacts me through the school can make it.
You are making a difference, one student at a time, one trip at a time. Craig Pilant, Associate Professor of History at the County College of Morris. I want to thank you so much. You've opened up our eyes to what's beyond this little region right here around us in New Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne.
It's been a pleasure.
Life and Living has been a production of the CAUCUS Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Life and Living with Joanna Gagis has been provided by Health Republic Insurance of New Jersey, Englewood Hospital and Medical Center, PSC&G, Wells Fargo, Activists in cooperation with the American Medicine Chess Challenge, Steve and Elaine Pozycki, and by the law firm of Gibbons, PC. Life and Living with Joanna Gagis has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.